So what we had here was a DR field and brush mower that the blades wouldn't activate. DR told the customer that it was most likely the switch here. The customer replaced the switch, but still the blades would not activate. I determined that all the wiring was in place. Everything looked good there. When I pulled the plate that holds the gas tank off, I noticed that the main pulley here, or the idler pulley I believe they call it, so this pulley came off of there. Looks like the belt ate right through it, so I'm going to have to replace the belt as well as this pulley. Everything's pretty easy to get to once you take off the fuel tank plate here. It's 4 bolts, 1/2 inch. You also have to remove the fuel line and the throttle cable, which is mounted right there. And you do want to be careful of the wiring when you pull that tank off. You can't pull it off too far. You're going to yank out some wires, but you can pull it out far enough to where you can get to that pulley there to replace it. So the spring was in place and went from that bolt to this bolt. Basically you just remove the nuts on top and the spring comes right out. So the lever, the bracket, actually has quite a bit of up and down place, so I think the bushing is probably out on the shaft as well, so I'm going to look into replacing that lever. This back plate here is 2 3/8 bolts, and you can get to what's underneath there. I think I can probably do this whole job without having to remove any more components. I'll show you what I'm talking about here with this bracket. So you can see this bracket where the pulley went, how floppy it is here. That's why I think it needs to be replaced. The bushing is probably out. It looks like a 9/16, and you get to one of the head, the bolt down underneath here, and you can get to the top of it right there. So let's go ahead and try to remove that here. Kind of awkward. Might be a 2-person job. Unfortunately, there's only one person here today, so let's see what we can do. Curious to see what this setup looks like, to see if I'm right about the bushing, but I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be floppy. Alright, what do we have here? So that looks like the whole setup. Yeah, that bushing in there, it may be a bearing. It's definitely worn out, so get a new one of these as well. I've been trying to determine which piece is worn here, but you know, I think both of them are, because if I look at that hole there, it definitely looks like it's kind of bowed out there. Yeah, it definitely looks thinner on that side if you look. So I'm going to replace this lever and get a new one of these as well. I finally got in the new parts for this DR field and brush mower. So let's go ahead and see if we can remember how to do this. Okay, so I have this piece together. So you do want to fully assemble the pulley onto the lever before you try to install it. You can see the spacer on the pulley goes down to the lever, and this is the way it mounts in there, like this. Make sure we have the spacer. Let's see, right there. Hopefully you can see that. Time for the belt. You do have to order all the parts from DR. real easy to order website. I'm going to put the belt on the engine pulley first. You do have to kind of squeeze it underneath the pulley there in the mower deck. So I realized that I took one of the engine mounting bolts out, so I can actually tilt this whole engine up and squeeze the belt under, so let me do that. I gotta put my camera down to do this, folks. So I just lifted up the whole engine plate to get the belt under there. Yeah, that was definitely the way to go, putting the belt on the engine pulley first. Looks like the belt goes on this side of that spring mount. Looks like I'm gonna have to lift that engine plate up again to get that. So I'm going to try wrapping it around this side first and see if I can work it onto the pulley. I'm gonna have to set down my camera though. Almost got it. There we go. Now it's time for the spring. We basically need to go from there to there. I don't have a spring puller, so I'm just going to reef on it and hopefully I can pull it over far enough, but I gotta put the camera down to do that. Right, let's see how strong I am today. You know, I think I'm gonna put the nut on here to help keep that spring on. Oh boy, that is going to be tough. I got an idea. Wire. Wrap it around the spring. And yeah, now it's pretty easy to pull. I just need to make sure I can get that wire out of the way. There. Let's go ahead and put cap back on, nut back on. Well, that's one way to get that wire out of there. At least the spring's on. Just need to tighten it down. I just want to make sure all the wires are still connected, make sure I didn't pull anything out. One last check. Oh. Okay. Hopefully all those wires are still connected.